This is Heavy Conversation with Bruce and Jody, a podcast where we talk about being a big guy in today's world. I'm Bruce. And I'm Jody. Here we go.
Here we go.
All right, here we go. All right, here we go.
Okay, so today we're going to talk about something that is near and dear to both of our hearts. And that is...
Or digging a knife into our heart.
Yes, a little of both. So recently, the New York Post wrote an article about the fact that companies are downplaying their plus-size clothing lines. Meaning that they are creating plus-size clothing,
okay,
but they won't talk about it.
Oh, yeah.
And
I don't understand that.
The interesting thing about this is that for the article, the writer tried to reach out to a few different companies, and some of them just wouldn't talk about it. They wouldn't talk about adding additional sizes, or they tried to justify adding a plus size by adding a size 0 to their options.
So they're going the other way as well.
So they wanted to say, well, yes, we're adding that, but we're also adding this.
To downplay it. What is that about?
And this is something that I have definitely seen in the time that I've been doing this kind of stuff with Chubster, is that there are companies out there that are carrying extended size clothing, but they aren't promoting it. They aren't marketing that at all.
Yeah.
They won't tell you that they have something in a 3X or a 4X or whatever. You have to hope that the customer is going to go out and find that and look through the site for it.
You have to dig online for it. That's right. Yeah, that's a big thing.
You mostly can't go into stores. We know that.
Yeah.
Some retailers are trying to do a little more of that. Like Express is taking steps to have, I think, up to XX.
Yeah, that's
a good start.
That's a start, yeah.
Sure. But a lot of these companies, they just aren't promoting it. And I think there are a lot of reasons.
That's silly. Like, I don't need, if you're spending the money developing the product, getting the product in your store, and then you don't talk about it, how am I as a consumer, when you never carried that size before, I'm just going to go to Express today or wherever and just randomly walk around and see if they have something for me.
Sure.
Like, I'm not going to do that.
Right. And some of these companies will use low sales as a reason to stop selling that stuff.
But they never promoted it in the first place.
Right. If you're not promoting it, then these customers are not going to know. I'm not going to know to go to your website to look for something if you aren't talking about it.
Yeah.
And you aren't promoting it.
And there's so much money to be made.
Absolutely.
That's the thing that boggles my mind. Like, that was for Bearskin. That was like the reason why we got into it, because they were like, there's not very many people doing this.
Right.
There are a lot of big guys, so there's money to be made there.
Absolutely.
And I want to make these guys comfortable. Like, I want to make myself comfortable was the start, but it's like, okay, now I can make all these other guys comfortable. These big guys need great underwear. And yeah, we use big guys to promote it. Like, how are they going to know if you don't do that?
Right. And one thing to note is that in the article, they're saying that the plus size clothing business, plus size apparel, is a $21 billion business. And that's, I guess, their guess at this point.
Yeah. And that's with them not even promoting it, and not very many brands even in that market.
Right.
Imagine what it would be if more brands were in there. There's tons of money to be made.
Fat people need clothes.
Yeah.
They have money. They want to wear things that are going to look good on them. They want to wear things that they like. It's not just necessity. We also want the same kind of options, So I'm really surprised. Well, I'm not as surprised as I was early on. Companies have certainly reached out to Chubster and have been like, we'd like to look at ways to work together, but they won't promote our partnerships, or they won't promote what they are specifically doing for plus size people. There are some that do, and they do it very well, but there are also some that they aren't comfortable with it. They don't know how to approach it. And I think there are a lot of reasons for that. I think the big one that I see, and that they talked about in this New York Post article, is that they are concerned they're going to alienate their core customer, who is a mainstream size customer.
Okay. I don't I mean, yes, no, I don't think that it's going to, I don't understand why that would alienate someone, your core customer. I mean, I understand that you, as a brand, you have this, you have to have like this person that you're going for, that you're fitting for, that your aesthetic is going for. So I kind of understand that a little bit, but offering those things in bigger sizes, I don't think will alienate the person that's been buying it forever. Like, why would that make them not want to buy it? I don't get that.
It won't. And the thing is that we're not asking, and they certainly aren't doing this. They aren't making all of their models plus size models. And in a lot of cases, they aren't even using plus size models to promote their big and taller plus size lines. The problem is that some of these companies don't see bigger people as being able to be aspirational, being able to see.
I think I've heard that time and time from the big designers. They don't want big people wearing their clothes.
Right.
Like, I think even Abercrombie did that.
Right.
A long time ago. Are they even still around?
Totally. Totally. And Jess Baker did a whole photo shoot kind of pushing back against that, which was pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. They really, that is really a thing in their minds, that plus size people can't be aspirational. They can't look awesome. Well, it's totally wrong. It's totally backwards. And that is what people are looking for. I know. Yeah. You know,
constantly looking for it.
Right. And I mean, when you're using models for Bearskin and you're finding bigger guys, that it's aspirational. I look at that stuff and it's like, that's awesome. I want to be that guy.
We get tons of comments and emails about the fact that we're using bigger guys all the time. And they're like, oh my God, thank you so much. It was so great to see that. Or my Instagram feed, you know, is always just the same. And then I came across your brand and I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. And I love getting those emails. It makes me feel like, okay, yes, we're doing the right thing. Keep going, keep pushing the norm, you know, pushing past that. Yeah, that's a big thing for us. We are always wanting to use big guys, and we're searching for bigger guys. You know, so we've even gotten backlash about some of our models aren't big enough.
Sure.
Which I don't like that either.
Right.
Like,
that's a whole different, I mean, there's something we could jump into there with the community not embracing people who want to be part of it and who should be. There's a whole thing there for sure.
What did you call it? I heard you say something about the plus size backlash or something. What were you?
You know, I think what it really comes down to is that people want to see companies showing models that look like them, that look awesome. They want that. They want to see somebody in an aspirational light who looks like them, wearing clothes, being happy.
If you want to see that, come talk to us and be a model for us.
Yeah, there you go.
Because we want bigger models, and we have a hard time getting bigger models. I mean, it might be a little bit more specific to art because we're underwear and people aren't, in general, as comfortable just being in underwear.
Sure.
But even with clothes, I mean, we have a hard time getting big models.
Right. Yeah, and I've seen on your Instagram's great. I was looking at your Instagram, I think yesterday or this morning, and you're able to feature bigger guys there that you don't see in any of this. When we're talking about plus size fashion, we are seeing a very specific body type. We aren't seeing much outside.
They're on the small end of the plus size spectrum,
right?
I would say,
right. Yeah. We need more diversity there for sure. We need these companies to take those steps forward and to actually do something, show these different kinds of models. And they are afraid to alienate that audience. And that really sucks because I don't think that would be the case.
I don't think so either. I mean, I think maybe even starting if you're so worried about that, then maybe start a whole separate brand that's specifically just for the plus size. You know, it could basically almost be the exact same clothes.
Right.
But just if it's that big of a worry for them, why don't they have all the whole distribution, manufacturing, all that whole network set up already? You can just be like, oh, you know how like
here's our new brand for plus size people.
You know, there's like the Gap and then Old Navy and Banana. There's like they're the same company, or they were.
Right.
I think they've sold off parts of it or whatever, but you know, they got the low end, the medium, and the high end, and they're totally different, but it's the same company, same brand, you know?
Right. And that makes sense. I think that a lot of these companies are afraid to take that step and to take that chance because they aren't sure it's going to sell. You know, H&M had a plus size, I don't know, line, I guess, for a few years, and it didn't work out because they didn't make the clothes.
Was there a men's one or just women's?
I honestly don't know.
I was like, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I honestly don't know because someone had told me about that they put something out and then it went away because it didn't sell well because the stuff didn't fit well.
Oh, so, cool. Well, yeah, they're fit. See, that's another thing. Yeah, if you're going to do it, you gotta be okay with having a couple bumps. It's going to be a bumpy ride because big bodies are big in lots of different ways.
Yes.
So we had that problem with Bearskin when we first started, like trying to get our fit and our sizing just right. It took us a couple of rounds to do that.
Sure.
You know, big thighs, big butts, big bellies, big whatever, you know,
right.
People have different body shapes. It's going to take a while to get that nailed, get it dialed in just right.
Absolutely.
And you can't just give up after, this is our first try and it didn't work, so we're never doing it again.
Yeah, iterate, keep working at it. There's an audience out there that will buy the stuff. They want to give you their money. Mm-hmm. I want to take a quick second here to talk about our beer.
Okay. Yeah.
For this episode, which we're continuing our excellence in beer with Rainier
and beer drinking
this time around. So
Rainier. I had a friend. He was like, Rainier. What is this beer?
Rainier.
Like, Rainier.
Yeah. So. Enjoy.
I like it.
Yeah.
It's one of my new favorites, actually. When I'm like, I don't know any of those. Oh, Rainier, let's do that. Let's start with that one. I know what that one is. And then
it's a good go-to, especially, up here in the region that we're in the Pacific Northwest.
The PNW.
I really love regional crappy beers. I'm just like the beers that have been around since 1836 or whatever. Those, if they've made it that long, it's worth a try.
They must be doing something right.
I will drink your swill if I come to your area of the country. So keep that in mind. If we ever meet, I will drink your cheap beer.
Yes. Yeah. Bring us your local swill.
Yes. Yes. So, one of the other things that we were just hitting on with this is sizing and making the clothes fit. And a lot of these companies, for whatever reason, they aren't making clothes with bigger bodies in mind. Mm-hmm. And I do think that there's fear there that they are going to put something out. It's not going to work. So they don't want to talk about it. They don't want to promote it. They are hoping that customers will find
they're just going to find it miraculously.
Right. And that doesn't work.
Mm-mm. I mean, Bearskin, we're screaming it all the time. Up to 6XL. We go up to 6XL. Yeah, we do offer smalls, but we honestly don't even make that many of them. But they sell, so we continue to make them.
Sure.
There's money to be made in that market too.
Right.
So I'm not going to ignore it. Right. But our focus is on the bigger bodies. So our designs are made for bigger bodies. But yes, we've scaled them down to do smalls.
Absolutely. And I think that's great. In a perfect world, every apparel business would be making a wide range of sizes and would have things that work for different body types.
Yeah.
Another thing that came out of the article that stood out to me that I think is ridiculous is that one of the people said that the companies are afraid to talk about adding extended sizes because they're worried about backlash from the plus size customer or the plus size community. Backlash in that, say they announce, hey, now we have plus sizes, that the customer is going to push back. Oh, well, now you've just added them. You didn't have them for this long, which is the most ridiculous and asinine thing I can think of.
I'd be excited if you have it.
Totally. We want people to carry these sizes. If you do that, we're going to love it. Nobody's going to get angry with you. The only problems that you would run into is if you didn't think about bigger bodies when you're trying to make these extended sizes. Yeah. And maybe that ties in with that fear.
Yeah. I want, like we were saying, I want more brands in this plus size party. Like,
absolutely.
I would never be mad that you're only now offering it.
Sure.
I'd be like, hell yeah, you're offering my size.
Right.
I'm going to be up, but I need you to tell me that you're doing that.
Right.
You need to say, hey, we're doing plus sizes or extended sizes. Mm-hmm. It's not that hard to, have a little blurb on your website or have an article. There's tons of plus size bloggers that want to write about it.
Yes.
So Chubster's happy to write about new brands that are writing, doing plus sizes.
Absolutely. And we're always looking for that. And one example of this and a company kind of missing the mark is J. Crew. Apparently, according to this New York Post article, has started carrying plus size clothing. They're adding extended sizes to their options.
Okay.
Since January, they've been doing that.
Oh, wow.
I didn't know anything about that. I haven't seen anything about it.
And I think we would have seen it if
Absolutely. We're always
I'm always looking
Yeah.
like, oh, what are they doing? What's going on?
And they are also doing something, and
I have Google alerts for
totally.
plus size.
So you
stuff.
get all that stuff. Yeah. And they're also doing something on the site that shows the clothing on different body types.
Okay,
the models
cool.
of different body types. I haven't looked at this yet. I'm going
Okay.
to after we're done here. But if that's the case, they need to be shouting that from the rooftops.
Yeah.
That is what people want. We want to see what clothes are going to look like on someone who has a body like ours.
Yeah.
And then and you go, okay, well, I could wear that. If that guy can wear that.
Yeah, that was exactly with Bearskin. We were like, I need bodies that look like mine.
Totally.
But also, I want bodies that are smaller, that are taller, that are, whatever, to show that it fits different body types.
Right.
I shouldn't be getting, this backlash for using bodies that aren't big enough or
Sure.
that are whatever. Like, stop with that.
Right. I think another thing with mainstream companies is that showing plus size models, bigger models in general, it shows that a company is thinking about all of their customers. They're thinking about all people, and it's not just a very specific, narrow definition of what is stylish and who can look good. And that goes a long way. It builds goodwill for your brand.
Oh, yeah.
And that's something that they don't see. And a lot of these companies don't want to hurt their bottom line, or they're afraid to try and make those changes and take that step.
It's a tough market, and it's, there's lots of moving pieces to that. But I think, why would you not want to go after this huge market of people that want to spend money?
Right.
Like, what did you were saying some numbers earlier. It's a huge,
21 billion.
yeah.
That's huge.
That's huge. And again, that's with not very many brands doing it,
Right.
or they're not advertising it or whatever.
Yeah.
Imagine if more brands were doing it. There's a lot of money out there.
Absolutely. And we, again, are starting to see more of that in women's plus size fashion. And I do think that it will move to men's over time. So it's still the baby steps kind of thing. And I do feel like companies are starting to come around. Some brands are seeing that this can be their bread and butter. They can make a lot of money doing this. And that's really what it comes down to. Every company that I talk to, when I'm pitching them on why they should be promoting this stuff, it's these customers, these people who are coming to Chubster and looking for this stuff. They have money to spend. They want to spend it on clothes that fit them, that look good.
We're desperate for something.
Yeah. And you can show them, people are coming to the site and they're buying things, and I'm able to show them conversion rates and get into all this kind of deeper businessy kind of stuff.
The behind the scenes numbers. Yeah.
And show them that this is what they're looking for. This could be the holy grail of a new category for them that they just aren't focused on as much.
You've got to promote it. Yeah. You got to let us know that you're doing it. Otherwise, it's never going to do well.
Right.
Like, that seems very simple to me from where I'm coming from. Like, oh, if you have a new product, you have to tell people about it, or they're never going to, just putting it on your website. What was that movie? Build it and they will come, or whatever. Field of Dreams. That doesn't happen.
It doesn't work.
That does not work. You need to be promoting, telling us, showing us on Big Bodies that you have this.
Absolutely. You can reach a lot of people, and it's not just this plus size community. It's not just influencers. It's not just, there is a huge audience here. Pardon the pun.
Again,
there's an audience here that is looking for this stuff, and they will buy it.
I mean, we have customers all over the world. I'm still boggles my mind sometimes how, we sell a lot to the Middle East and the UK and Canada and, South Africa and even China and all these places. There's big people all around the world that want these clothes.
And they just need to know where to look.
Exactly. So if you know a brand that's carrying some plus size stuff, I want to know about it. That maybe they aren't showing it in their marketing or something. Let us know.
Absolutely.
Shout us out on Twitter or something. Let us know.
Tell us about your dream brands. What brands would you like to see carry extended size clothing that aren't right now? I know I have a list, so I'm sure other people do too, or at least have those one or two that they're like, it would be great if I could get this in a 4X, or if this was available in a 48 or a 50 or whatever.
Or if they're the ones that they were making actually were that size.
Yes, that.
I'm really good at like holding up a shirt and like, no, that's not really gonna.
No, you can always tell, especially when you do it for a while and you pick something up and look, and you know pretty quickly, and it will be so much better when we can actually go to stores and try things on.
Don't just have it online.
Right.
I need to try it on more than those skinny people do. I think we've said this many times, and we're going to keep saying it. We need it in a store. I need to try it on.
Yes, please.
It doesn't, that little big and tall section in the back isn't enough,
Right.
Don't be like, oh, well, we have that online. Well, that doesn't help me. I'm in your store.
Oh. So that's it. That's the problem. We need a solution. We need these companies to speak up.
Yes, you're doing baby steps, but you need to scream like a baby that you're doing those first steps.
Yes.
And let us know that you have the big sizes. And listeners, please let us know if you're finding big sizes on some brands that you maybe wouldn't typically think have big sizes. We want to know about them. We want to share them and try them out.
Definitely.
Hit us up on Twitter or Instagram, all that good stuff.
Yep.
We want to hear from you.
Perfect.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to Heavy Conversation. Be sure to like and subscribe on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts.